American Canaries by Chris Sadler. Hello again, or possibly hi, dude. Anyway, football in Norwich City. Here's a question for you. Which ex-City striker shared a footballing award with football legends Pelé, Johan Cruyff and Franz Beckenbauer? Missed that? Okay. Beckenbauer, Cruyff and Pelé all won the same footballing award as an ex-Norwich City striker. The question is, which striker and which award? Firstly, for context, we need to go back to England's World Cup win in '66. Important because television broadcasts of the tournament were enjoyed across the globe, even in the famously soccer-shy United States. See, the song wasn't picked at random. The producer's really on the ball. That's Gary, or possibly Amy. Hello. Anyway, after the World Cup television success, the money men stateside sensed the American public may finally be ready to embrace the beautiful game, and immediately set about creating the North American Soccer League, otherwise known as the NASL. The NASL opened with its first season in 1968 and was heavily promoted by television giant CBS in an attempt to make it an established and successful part of North America's TV sporting schedule. The US League bigwigs used money and glamour to attract a galaxy of world stars to play in the States. World Cup legends and international stars flocked to lace up their boots in this bright, new, sunny, high-dollar environment. Players such as Brazilian legends Pelé and Carlos Alberto, England World Cup winners Alan Ball, Gordon Banks, Geoff Hurst and Bobby Moore, German World Cup winners Franz Beckenbauer and Gerd Müller. There were Dutch superstars too, Johan Cruyff and Johan Neeskens, and even Northern Ireland's wayward maestro George Best. All of them made their way to the NASL. Although early attendances averaged only 3,000, crowds steadily improved and several games attracted well over 30,000 people during the peak 1970s years, with New York Cosmos holding the record for the highest attendance of 48,000 in 1979. In addition to the headline acts, many other professional players from the UK made their way across the Atlantic, including an avian avalanche of players from Norwich City, whose squad often used the close season in England as an opportunity to pick up extra income playing stateside. Those players included goalkeepers Kevin Keelan, Mervyn Corsten, Joe Corrigan, defenders such as Greg Downs, Mel Machin, Kevin Bond, midfielders Colin Suggett, Graham Padden, Jimmy Neighbour, Mick Maguire, forwards like Ron Davis, Viv Busby, Keith Birchin, David Cross, Ted McDougall, and there were many, many others. So, that sets the context, but let's return to the question. Which former Norwich City player shared the same footballing award as Pelé, Johan Cruyff and Franz Beckenbauer? Any idea? Let's see. In 1979, the NASL MVP award, that's the most valuable player in the league, went to Dutch superstar Johan Cruyff. 2 years earlier, in '77, the award went to the Kaiser himself, Franz Beckenbauer, and the year prior to that, in '76, it went to simply the best player in the world, Pelé. But who won it 2 years before, in 1974? Baltimore Comet striker and former Canary, Peter Sylvester. Peter Sylvester was a more than useful centre-forward, scoring 14 goals in 18 games for the Comets that year, and justly earning the most valuable player in the league award. The popular Sylvester's record for the Canaries wasn't too shabby either, scoring 37 goals in 100 appearances between '69 and '73, and helping secure the boys in yellow and green their first crack at the top league in England in 1972. More than useful. Thinking about it, sharing the award with Pelé, Cruyff and Beckenbauer must have been a real personal coup for Sylvester. Utterly brilliant, in fact. He couldn't have wished to be in more exalted company. The modern equivalent would be a former Norwich striker, let's say Dean Coney, clutching a cup and sharing a podium with Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe, while being sprayed with champagne and festooned with £50 notes. Astonishing. Sorry, Dean, didn't mean to get your hopes up. There was joy for other Carrow Road alumni during this period too. Ex-Norwich midfielder Trevor Hockey was signed to Las Vegas Quicksilvers in '77 and played in the same team as Portuguese legend Eusebio. That's Eusebio, by the way. One of the best footballers ever. Fantastico. Of separate interest maybe, some other players in the North American Soccer League at the time went on to manage successfully in England. They include gruff and tough Sam Allardyce, who did very well at Bolton and briefly managed England in 2016. The less said about that the better, although he's the only England manager with a 100% win record, with his one game in charge. There was Hampshire Scot Bruce Rioch, who managed Norwich between 1998 and 2000. John Faulkner, who was assistant manager to Mike Walker from 92 to 95, and Harry Redknapp, West Ham, Bournemouth, Spurs, Southampton, manager at all, and the Mars second 11 probably, and he was an ex-Norwich City trialist and reserve team player in 1973. Yes, really. It was an amazing time, but the broadcasters failed to hold the American public's attention, despite the money, sun and pizzazz, and the league eventually folded in 1984, taking with it its corn dogs, perms and toothsome cheerleaders. A case of what-ifs. And what is? After all, Major League Soccer, the MLS league, has been running in the US since the mid-1990s and appears to be going from strength to strength. You better wheel the corn dogs and cheerleaders back in. Maybe not the perms. And while we're there, give a wave to ex-Canary striker Kay Kamara too. Yep, he's out there with Colorado Rapids. The vanguard of a second Norwich City avalanche? Possibly. We'll have to wait and see. Gosh bless the American team. Have a nice day, buddy.